Doesn't it just feel like the longest time since we've actually spoken to one another? I know it does. Well, I have really, really great news for those of you following along. It's taken 18 months of my life, but I'm finally finished my cancer treatment and I'm getting on with life. I know. I'm so excited to make this video and as an update, a catch up with you to recap on my journey, what's happened in the last 18 months since I haven't been making any videos, and where I am now and what the future holds for us here in this channel and for me. And yes, just a great update about everything, but a really, really good update. I know it's been the longest time since I actually have made an update video, but I promise it's because of good reasons. I know we still have a lot of new followers around here, and this might be the first time that you're seeing or hearing this. So for those of you that don't know, I'm going to quickly recap on my story and what the last 18 months have been for me since I last made videos here on YouTube, and then look at obviously the future. So February 3rd, 2023, last year, I found out I was diagnosed with breast cancer, with triple negative breast cancer. And on that day, my entire world just fell apart and shattered underneath me. It was something that I was not expecting. It was just, it really took, like, it just shook me to my core. I was just, it was so unexpected. It turned my life upside down entirely. And so triple negative is a very invasive and aggressive type of breast cancer, so I needed to obviously proceed with treatment. And so treatment at the time was going to look like chemotherapy for 6 months, then surgery, then radiation, and like the whole works. So thus embarked my cancer recovery journey, where I made this video. Obviously, some of you have seen that one, where I told you all and, you know, shared the bad news with you, but we've moved on since then. So the first up was chemotherapy, and that was the worst time of my entire life. It was 5.5 months, nearly 6 months in total, of intravenous chemotherapy. I had 2 different kinds, like the really hard, heavy stuff. They gave me all the good stuff. So it was at the start, it was 2 weekly infusions, and for 2 months, and then I had 4 months of weekly infusions of a different mix, which was happening this time last year, which, I was completely bald, so sick, I could barely function, and I had no capabilities of like doing things for myself almost. It was horrible to just be so sick every day. Felt like the life was just like zapped out of me, and it was really tough. It was a really hard time. I can talk about it now because it's feeling more like a distant memory than something really close, which is a really, really nice feeling, to feel like it's something of the past now, not still something that's in my present. So getting through chemotherapy, I even had a port installed because infusions were getting hard. The cannulas were difficult to do, so it makes like a nice little port to access all the time, and got through that. And then I had surgery, and luckily the surgery that I had was a smaller surgery, just a lumpectomy, and they took 2 lymph nodes as well. So that was its own thing that you have to deal with after surgery, then what your body looks like afterwards. But I think I got very lucky, and that it could have been a lot worse, and only like 5 years ago, the standard protocol was a double mastectomy straight away. So I feel very grateful to have gotten away with just a lumpectomy and a few lymph nodes missing. At this point, after surgery, the results of surgery was the pinpoint of how all the chemotherapy did, and what the cancer was left and where it was at. So at that point, it was discovered the cancer had shrunk, which was great, but it didn't shrink as much as they would have hoped. So meaning that the chemotherapy wasn't as effective as they would have hoped or liked it to have been. And so there was no evidence that it spread to any of my lymph nodes, which was amazing, like the most amazing thing. But that's where little twist in even the cancer journey went in that then, because my body didn't respond as well to the chemotherapy, it was suggested that I have, after radiation was always next, but then after radiation, it was suggested another round of chemotherapy, a different kind, an oral, like tablet form of chemo. It's much lighter, as a sort of preventative to help just in case there were any random cells that still that were around in my body that didn't get chemo the first time. And so that was really, really hard at that point, because in my mind, I only had radiation to go and I was going to be the end of it, right? So anyway, I didn't have to decide straight away. Had a little bit of a rest, but then went into radiation, that was a walk in the park compared to all the other things that I had to do. Fortunately and thankfully to a lot of you to hear on my cancer recovery page, made it possible to be able to pay to have the radiation done in town here. There's a lot of challenges living rurally where I live, and one of them was that I would have had to have going through the public system, travel and be away from home for, well, at the time we didn't know, it could have been 2 months, 6 weeks, and travel 1,000 kilometers away. I don't know how many miles that is, we'll put that on screen, to the next town and live while they do radiation, which is daily treatment. But fortunately, I was able to do it privately at the clinic here in town, which made it just like, that was the easiest part of this whole cancer process. So it was great. And the people there were wonderful. They made like disco lights for me at the end when I finished. It was a real little party. It was good. So unfortunately, that wasn't the very end of my journey. I did then have another 5 months of oral chemotherapy after that. Fortunately, this chemo was not like the one before, and it was not without side effects, but it wasn't anywhere near as severe as obviously the intravenous, where I could barely function as a human. This one was sort of, a halfway. I could kind of start transitioning back to normal life, but I had side effects like I still have neuropathy from the first lot of chemo, but then this one actually makes your feet like toxicity sore, and I could barely walk at times as the cycles went through. Anyways, my hair was growing back at this stage, which was nice. Doesn't take my hair away, so that still continued to grow. This is my hair now, obviously, my new style. But it was really nice. And so that then did end. That ended just over 2 months ago now. I did actually intend to, make you a video at that point that it was ended, but I just really needed some time. I needed for all of this cancer stuff to be over and just live life, just like not have cancer stuff or just not worry about stuff and just heal. And so I've really been able to detox and take time to heal my body, my mind, my soul, everything, and just kind of now, as I said before, it really feels like this cancer journey as something that's behind me. I've gotten, I'd say 70-80% of, what I was before. I'm, like as in fitness, I have energy, I'm able to be active. After surgery, I have movement in my arms, all that sort of thing. All the pain and things from chemo are disappearing. So it's really, really feeling great again. And every week that goes by, I feel better and better as more time from chemo and everything just, time heals everything. So it's really, really wonderful. I've been doing some things that just, it just feels like life again. And I'm so excited, really excited. I just had the very, very last piece of my puzzle, which was the surgery to remove my portacath, which I'm still patched up from. But that was 1 week ago. And that's the last thing in my journey, was to remove that, because I'm no longer doing chemo. I no longer have cancer, and I do not need a port anymore because I am cancer free. So now I'm really getting on with life. I have to be obviously checkups for the next 5 years and on surveillance mode, as they say, which I really like. There's nothing else. Now I look in my schedule and there's no hospital, no medical appointments. It's amazing. It's really amazing to feel. I am so lucky to have had such wonderful support around me from my partner, my partner's parents, my own parents. I have just I couldn't have done anything that I did during that time without them. My team here in business, I couldn't have continued to serve my VSS members without my team here behind me to help me behind the scenes. My VSS members, of course, that just, I mean, having all of you guys there was just wonderful and just gave me a break from cancer, stuff at that time to, sit down with you every month and still create content and do that. But obviously, here on YouTube, I haven't made any videos, but you guys here still have just been amazing. In my last video update halfway through, I showed you the amount of letters and cards and like well wishes and messages that I've received over that time. Is just, I have no words, the overwhelm that I felt from all of you supporting me, particularly at the very start when I was just diagnosed. It really, really meant the world to me. And as I said, I used to keep like the little notes and letters from you, and I'd keep them by my bed on purpose to open on, days that I didn't feel well, which is a lot. So thankfully I had a lot of, kind love letters from you. So I truly, truly thank you for all your support through all of your positive vibes and energy you've sent me, your messages, your letters. You're continuing to watch my videos here on YouTube, because we have not made any for a year and a half. Well, probably a year, I suppose. If you look at the YouTube algorithm, I had some preloaded made before I got diagnosed, and they sort of released out while I was still going through treatment. But it's been a year and a half since I've made any YouTube videos. And so, what is happening from here? Where are we going from here? Well, for me personally, I am so ready to get back into life. I feel, you can probably tell by the smile on my face, energetic again, and inspired by life and ready to dive into it. This experience absolutely has made me reevaluate and change my perspective on a lot of things. So I have a lot of things personally that I'm changing and looking at doing differently, but mostly I'm looking forward to going back to my lovely country home that I had to leave for most of the time to come back into town, and even in town is still rural, to do my treatment. So I'm looking forward to actually going back there and starting my country home up in the mountains, but I need to build a work studio. So this around you here will be changing as I relocate in. That'll take a long time, so don't expect that to happen anytime soon, but I'm starting the process so I can just be there full time and really enjoy life. That's what I want. And so, yes, I will be starting YouTube videos again. Do not worry, of course. My love is sewing and helping you sew and be able to create the clothes that you love. It's my passion, and I love, my true passion is even passing on that knowledge and helping you as much as I can, seeing your success. So I obviously have continued, I mentioned a vintage sewing school is my main thing that I do. Where I teach all my members how to sew, and come join us if you haven't already. That is the best place for all of my content. But here on YouTube, we do fun things too. And I'm really excited about having the opportunity to, after a year and a half off, to, I suppose, relaunch and come into YouTube and figure out, like, what's new? Let's have a fresh new start for everything, right? I would love to hear from you below on what you love to see. Give me some ideas, whether it's specific topics or the type of content you like, tutorials, sewing videos, chit-chatty ones, all the things that talk about us, like problems, all the things. I would really love to hear what kinds of content or what types of topics you would love to see videos about from me, because I'm about to start making some more YouTube videos. So over the coming months, you will see some relaunching, and we will get back into it. So I need a little bit yet, so it won't be quite just yet. As I said, a couple of months, you'll start seeing those videos come through, and some fresh new content as we get back into things and get back into life and enjoy sewing, right? Enjoy sewing. That's what it is all about. So if I didn't make it very clear already, I'm thrilled to be making this video for you personally, that my journey is over, and to thank you all for still being here, and all your kind words and support over this time have really, I have no words except that we will be continuing on very soon, and I'm really, really looking forward to it, my sewing friends. Until very soon when I see you again. Bye. Happy sewing. Bye.